Hello, hello. Welcome back to Find Your Wise podcast. If you weren't here last week, I'm Yvonne.
I'm Indira. I'm a leadership coach.
Yeah, and I am a financial life coach.
So we're so happy to have you here to our second episode. Today we'll be talking about preparing for the holidays. Yeah, and maybe you will think that this is maybe too early to discuss about this topic, but in fact, we're already in November. At
Yeah,
the end of the month, we will have a Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and everything started going forward after that. So we thought it was a good timing to start with this episode because it helped us with the planning season.
yes. So,
In my case, I think sometimes the holidays could be sometimes overwhelming for some people, and for
yeah,
others can be a little bit more fun. It depends of how you are and how you behave and your personality. And last week we were talking a little bit about this style and different style of communication and emotion. And I think one of the first thing that is important to discover and is for us to identify what are those let's say stressors on the holiday season, especially is understand what is your perspective about the holidays. For
right.
example, in my case, I could say that I enjoy spend holidays with my family. So if I'm by myself, it's not as fun. But also I can say, I think that's something that really affects me a little bit. And also I can say that if I have to prepare, for example, by myself, the whole dinner, oh my gosh, it's really stressful. By the
Yeah, it's
time
a
the
lot of
dinner
work.
is ready, I don't even want to have dinner. How about you,
Exactly.
Yvonne?
No, it's the same, and I've spent many Christmases alone because I've been divorced for so long. Um, and it's whether you love them or hate the holidays, because I love the holidays. I'm like an elf. I get so excited. I tend to go overboard with decorations. I'm one of those people. But it still can be really stressful. Um, and I know that for a lot of people, especially being alone, there's a lot of times a lot of pain involved. My dad was one of those people for years. He hated Christmas. He didn't want anything to do with it. If you went over to visit and you brought him a Christmas gift, he's had some choice words. I don't want that and everything else. But it was because he was going through some rough times in his life, but also he lived further away from us. And now that he's here, closer to my sister and I, because my sister lives just down the road, and we get to see him on a regular basis, he's excited about Christmas now all the time. I mean, he has a tree that he lets us put up and decorate, and he's already talking about Thanksgiving.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool, and circumstances do change, but I get it. It can be stressful, even if it's something that you really love. And that's why it was so important for us we felt that to do this session, because there's so many tips and tricks. We did kind of both, pull ideas and stuff like that to bring to everybody tonight so that they can hopefully ease the stresses coming to them. Because, like it or not, the holidays are here.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And to your point, one of the things is that sometimes we put so much stress on the holiday season because of the society expectations or what how you want it to that to work. And that really puts us a lot of stress on ourselves. And if instead of
Mhm.
focusing on what society expects, we focus on gratitude, togetherness, and
Yes.
really be with the loved ones, I think that really reduce the stress that we put into it, and we really start enjoying it. Really, that's why embracing that and also some self-compassion, it's also really helpful because instead of we focusing on just spending the time, we also focusing on ourself and
Yes.
spending those time with reflection to understanding who we are, to practice gratitude, and and also connection with other people and with ourselves. So I think that's also one of the things that are really important during the holidays because we are also looking back everything that we did this year
Yes.
that we didn't accomplish, all those goals that we put at the beginning of the year that we didn't do. And now at the end of the year, we wanted like to understand what happened. So that
Mhm.
reflection and also have grace on ourselves that if it didn't happen, it can happen going forward. We just have to be a little bit more intentional with that.
Exactly. So, like I had said, we had each gathered some tips and tricks that we
Yep.
wanted to go ahead and share with the audience. They can take notes, they can, rewatch and take down some of the information that we got. We see, so put together a bunch of stuff, help people navigate. Um, I know for me, there have been several times in my life that the holidays have triggered me for one reason or another. Um, and I love them, like I said. So I feel that the best place to start talking about being prepared for the holidays is being emotionally prepared. Because everything that we do during the holidays, whether it's if we socialize or we don't socialize, how we spend our money, how much money we do spend, and our
Yes.
eating, so much of that happens because of how we're feeling emotionally. So
Yes.
let's go ahead and start out with those. I'm going to bring up my notes here because I can't remember everything that we took notes on and all the information that we have. So if I keep looking
Yep.
over, it's trying to get that information right. I want to make sure everybody's got everything that we came up with.
Yep. So in terms of emotion, as like I was saying, having that self-awareness, self-compassion, having grace with yourself, planning time for yourself, it really
Yeah.
helps you because you can really not just understand the meaning of the holiday, but also understand if there's something that you need to adjust. The fact
Yes.
of you know in advance what are my triggers, what are the things that really makes me feel happy, what are the things that I really don't enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
You go in conversations with people or get together and you are more prepared and you go to that. It's like the emotional fitness because you put your emotion in control before they happen and you can even reject or avoid conversations that you know that will take you that further.
Yeah. Well, and part of that is setting boundaries.
Yes.
And I know that so many people, myself included at times, depending on who you're dealing with, it can be really difficult to set a boundary because it can cause conflict.
Yes.
And nobody wants that, especially during the holidays. But it is really important to set boundaries for yourself because if you have essentially two choices. If you are in a situation, and this is with or without the holidays, if you're in a situation with somebody and it's uncomfortable, it's unhappy, it's stressful for you, it causes anxiety, you can either choose to go ahead and let that continue, or you can take the next uncomfortable step and set a boundary. And eventually the other person will have to accept it or deal with there'll be consequences, which might mean you need to remove yourself from that situation.
Agreed.
So boundaries are so important when it comes, especially to the holidays, because we have family coming together. And it's usually not, it's very much out of our ordinary realm when
Yep.
all the extended family gets together. So that's why it's really important for, like you were saying, to know your own triggers, know your emotional status within yourself so that you can set those and the boundaries can change. I mean, you might have some static
Agreed.
boundaries that every year it's like I am, we go to mom's every year and we're gonna go, but every year I'm gonna start leaving at 9 o'clock because if I stay until everybody else is ready to go, I'm tired the next day. I don't enjoy, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Or it could be situational. Every year something changes but essentially a boundary is a boundary and set them for yourself and it'll really make a difference for how you enjoy your holidays. And like I
Yep.
said, and don't, if your boundaries are getting crossed, don't be afraid to leave, and that shocks people. It really shocks. They're like, wow, they were serious. If it's really getting intense, whether the situation is getting tense or your own personal anxiety is getting intense, remove yourself from that situation, because if you try to force yourself to stay through it, like you may have several other years, don't do it anymore. Stand up for yourself, you
Yep.
know,
Yes.
and it's okay to communicate that and communicate it openly, and How they receive it will be on them. Obviously, don't come at them with guns blazing, but it can be a really good time to have those conversations also, and have a better understanding of each other. You say, this is how I'm feeling. These are my concerns of how things go. And so because this is how I'm feeling about the way things go, I need to do this year. So it can be a very healing time. It doesn't have to be a triggering time.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, especially because sometimes we feel guilty when we
Oh, yeah.
said how we feel, or we even say no for things. We feel so guilty. We don't have any reality. They know I can't right now, or I'm not feeling that it's something that is going to help us. Just that it helps us not just to stand up for ourselves, but also to take care of the relationship, because we
Right.
know ourselves and we know if that could cause further. And remember, we're talking about family, people that we care and people that care about us.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Sometimes when you care about people, sometimes we don't treat them as we would
Right.
consider the same consideration of someone that we don't know.
Isn't that
When,
crazy that we do that?
yeah,
It's almost like, it's you sometimes you feel like you can treat them however you want because, well, they're family. They're not going to leave.
yes, and it's the opposite. I can tell, for example, um, and it's a matter of you recognize those type of things,
Yep.
because even that in a simple conversation, you can feel that if you were stressing the person and stressing that relationship more than you were supposed to. And or you imagine, because you start feeling your emotions, and that's one important thing. It's that your emotions talk before your actions. So if we pay a little bit of attention to that, you will see things are getting a little bit out of control. Let me even go outside, take some air, drink a
Yes.
little bit of water, or just change the topic of the conversation. It will help us to a smooth thing. Yeah, I think
Exactly.
it would be something really helpful.
No, I agree, because a lot of times we shut our mouths, but we can't shut off our face.
I know. Everything to be very expressive. And just a change of environment or a moment. Just if you
Yes.
go outside, you take a little bit of breath, they say, maybe I'm overreacting.
Yeah, just something to diffuse it. Just for a day.
Exactly.
Sometimes that interruption can make all the difference.
Yes.
Because, like you were talking about guilt, there is
Yeah.
so much guilt during the holidays. So much. There's so much I wish I would have, or huge reason for overspending. You feel guilty, so
Yes.
you're going to buy a bunch of stuff
Yep.
to make people
That,
feel better.
yeah.
It's crazy. And, another one, I mean, I was married to a military man. So we did not live near our families. And so there was always, always guilt involved with traveling. Whose family do you spend it with?
Yes.
And then it gets to the point where his family, and well, even if you live locally, it's, you have to rotate. My kids are going through that right now. I mean, not that I would ever make them feel guilty. It's their family, but, you know, both of my son and his soon to be wife both have divorced parents. So they have four sets of
Oh my God.
parents. So
That's a lot to juggle.
it is. And so it's like, okay, so, they're in California one year, North Dakota another year, here with me one year, they live in Colorado, but dad lives in Colorado. So they go to hit, but not in the same town.
Yep.
It's like, when do these kids have time for themselves? Do they have their own wonderful traditional Christmas?
Oh my
And that's
gosh.
something that I went through when I was newly married. And once our kids were young, because everybody wants to see the grandkids, and there is a lot of guilt that comes with that. And so I think that it's really important, an aspect of parents to don't add that guilt to your kids that are already going through enough. It's,
Yep.
as you're very far away
Yeah.
from your family. So
Yes. And I can tell you, I was just laughing, remember, when you mentioned that, because I can say, for example, two things came to mind: tradition, and even when you were close together. I can say, for example, in my country, it's a tradition to have dinner in New Year's, and how do you say it? The 24th. It's dinner, but
Christmas Eve, yeah.
yes. So what happened is that We also go to families, or we go to one of my side of my father or my mother's side. Okay, my mother preferred lunch, no dinner. And when I was doing this analysis, she most of the time she kind of eats first because she's so used all her life, because if he eats dinner, then it's not good for her body. So he eats during part of the food during lunchtime, and then she just eats so very little in the nighttime.
Mhm.
And just doing this, I said, why do we have to stick on the tradition? Why we never crossed my mind
Exactly.
that we can have a very nice lunch with my mother
Mhm.
during the lunchtime, and then we go to my father's side and have the dinner, and then we can have two. But just doing this exercise, this crossed to my mind because of traditions. Because sometimes we don't see things from a different perspective.
Exactly. And it there is a time for compromise, and it is very difficult sometimes because some people absolutely their traditions are so important to them they can't compromise. And so
Yep.
then it's up to you to determine what is the most important thing. Can you let
Yes.
them continue having their tradition? But there is so many conflicts because of traditions.
Yep.
And especially when couples first come together. If a man
Oh,
comes from, or one
goodness.
person comes from this type of tradition and this one comes from a different type and you get married, but my family always did it this way. Well, mine did it this way.
Yes.
So there is a lot of tension during the
Yep.
holidays. And that's just one of them. We're going to talk about a whole bunch more
Oh,
of
yes.
tensions.
Yep.
And
Because
that's,
the next one is the financial aspect.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, and one thing with emotions, the financial and the physical part that we will get into is to manage your expectations. And setting realistic expectations can be really hard because we all have this hallmark idea of how we want Christmas to be.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. Have you ever seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
No.
It's one of my favorite movies. And there's a part where it's a grown man and his family, and he's having Christmas at his house for the first time with all the in-laws.
Okay.
And chaos ensues, to say the least. And at one point, the house is destroyed. Dog has knocked or dog knocked over the garbage, and so he's in there cleaning up the garbage. And his dad comes in, and he's like, "Dad, I don't get it. This is not supposed to be this way." And he goes, "How did you manage all those years having everybody at the house?" And his dad was like, "Had a lot of fun or a lot of help from my friend Johnny Walker." And so
Oh my
basically he
God.
was drinking through the holidays.
Yes.
That is so typical,
Oh my
and a
God.
lot of it comes down to expectations. We put such high expectations on ourselves during the holidays to have this perfect scene,
Yep.
and we're devastated when it doesn't happen. When I was first married, okay, I had that. We had our first Christmas in our house. We had family, and I was like, I'm going to make the most perfect holiday dinner ever.
Yep.
And it was good. And for the first time ever, I made this fantastic apple pecan pie. And
Mm.
it was beautiful. I took it out of the oven. I was so proud of myself. New bride, young, full of life and hope. And we cut it open, and it was as dry as the desert inside. I was humiliated. You know
Yep.
what? That was like 35 years ago, and my family still talks about that stupid apple pie.
So embarrassed.
Yeah, well, now it's funny. But back
Yeah.
then it wasn't. I was
Yeah.
devastated. And it happened. I didn't do anything wrong. I don't know why it was like that. I followed the recipe exactly. But that's what I'm saying. You have these expectations, and when you don't
Yes.
reach them, we are
Yep.
so hard on ourselves, and it's just devastating.
Yes.
And so that is a great way that you can really enjoy your holidays is, I'm not saying lower your expectations and, expect a terrible holiday, but don't make them so lofty that if they're ruined a little bit, your holiday is ruined too.
Yes. That is so true.
So,
So going back, that introduction is really helpful, the financial
oh,
aspect, because
yes.
one of the things that we have with the finance is that we need to set a realistic budget. In
Absolutely.
order for us, because for example, there's so many things, there's so many people, and so many different things that we like to do. But the problem is that we if we set a budget, it doesn't really we don't go overboard. Because when I
Exactly.
set the budget is set it and follow it to make sure that, for
Yes.
example, we track our expenses to make sure that we really enjoy and those type of things. One of the things that, for example, is that you can make a list of the people that you have to provide presents. You can include, for
Yes.
example, your vacation, the things that you would like to do with your families, the gifts that you have to provide. And that helps you, for example, and you say, okay, X amount for different people
Yep.
that you help you. Another thing could be do yourself some gifts. I have a friend of mine that she does this beautiful drink. Oh my gosh, that all of us look after that. It's
Yes.
so good. So,
Yes.
and she doesn't spend as much as, but everybody loves him because it's not just it's
Exactly.
good. It was something that she did with so much emotion and love, and she
Yes.
decorates it so beautifully. And another one, for example, another idea is to make candles or something like that.
Yeah.
Because,
Homemade gifts are amazing.
yes,
People put so much time and effort and love. I mean, think about what a person has to feel for you to take not just, it's easy to spend money and buy something pretty and say here you go, but to
yep,
take the time
yep.
to make something for somebody that you thought about, how beautiful is that? I mean, that is
Yeah.
so precious. Really, it is.
I
You
know
know,
my friend.
when you make
Sorry.
I was going to say, when you make a list for people and gifts that you have to buy, look at it almost like when you go grocery shopping. You make a shopping list when you go grocery shopping.
Yes.
Do the same thing for Christmas. Really make it that simple for yourself.
And if you start with the planning and you start early, you can take advantage of Cyber Monday, Black Friday,
Exactly.
and you can
Exactly.
even the one, for example, my kids, they might be listening, but in many occasions, I don't know this one, but in many occasions, I buy their presents during this season. Black
Absolutely.
Friday is when I buy, especially the expensive one, and
Yep.
I always find hidden prices where I can put
Oh
it,
yeah.
and they don't find it, and I save a lot of money in
Yeah.
order to do that.
I mean, there's Black Friday, there's Cyber Monday, there's Prime Days,
Yep.
there's I probably should bring it up, but there is that a Facebook group that I invited you to.
Oh yeah.
It's called Treat Yourself. Anybody out there listening to this, look for the Facebook group called Treat Yourself. They are always putting up things that are on sale, bargains that are happening. A lot of it is Amazon, but sometimes it's any store that they can find really good deals on or special sales that you're not aware of. It's like they're keeping an eye out for all of that for you so that you don't have to constantly be watching. So it's a great Facebook page. It's on Facebook. Something else that you can do, and this is something that when we were newly married, my ex-husband was in the Air Force, and so very poor. We were so broke, it was crazy. But we started a Christmas fund. And
Oh,
so every paycheck, we had money that automatically came out that we never even saw that went into a savings account set up specifically for Christmas. And there's a lot of banks and credit unions and stuff that actually have special savings accounts that are set up seasonally that you get really good rates on that
okay.
you can add money to so that you can have. It's usually right around end of October, beginning of November that you pull your money out that you've saved all year, and you'd be amazed. And especially if you have it taken directly out of your paycheck and have it deposited into this account where you don't ever really miss it, fantastic. And then you've got your holidays taken care of.
Yeah. One of the things that reminds me when I was listening to Dave Ramsey class, he said, "Oh my gosh, I don't know why people are surprised because this time Christmas is in December." So, because it's so hard sometimes for people to plan. And then when it's the tiny so surprised that you use credit card and you go and get in debts that then you spend in 2025, for example, next year, paying and getting out of your budget because you already used most of the one because you have to pay the credit card. So we're
Yeah,
just trying to see if we can do things that are conscious that also is going to help you to set for the future.
absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, let's see. What are some other points that we brought up? Oh, planning for meals.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that can be done in advance also. Because I know for us, in my family, what we do is because there's probably 10 to 15 of us that get together every holiday because we all live near each other now. And so we split the duties and almost kind of like a potluck.
Oh, yeah. That's
And
my favorite.
it's very nice. So if you do, have a family that's nearby or friends that you get together, do that. Share the burden of the cost and the work of,
Yep.
making your big dinners. And you can do it early. As soon as you start seeing turkeys for sale in the store, grab one, put it in your freezer, and keep it there. Because if you're waiting until the week before Thanksgiving, they're going to be super expensive, and there's not going to be many good ones left.
That's true. And also, we were talking about when you have to provide gifts for a group of many people, do Secret Santa or things like that,
Yes.
that it will help you to spread not just one person. Instead of buying, let's say, 15 gifts, you focusing on buy one good gift for one person. And it's so much fun. Oh my gosh, you have so much fun doing it.
This is something I have suggested for our family because like I said, there's 10 to 15 of us just here. That's not including the extended family that live in other states and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so most of us are fairly comfortable, but not everybody. And I know that it can get really, I don't want to say stressful, but it can get really uncomfortable when you are in a setting of 10 or, a bunch of people and somebody who loves to give gifts, which is a beautiful thing, and they're giving everybody 10 gifts and they're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on everybody because they were smart enough to set up that Christmas account. But, and then you're sitting there going, I can't do that. That's very stressful.
Yeah.
So that is the perfect situation to suggest doing a Secret Santa or just, put everybody's name in a bowl this year and everybody pick one and you just buy for that one person. Everybody's still going to get a lot of gifts, but you don't have to worry about buying, several gifts for 10 different people.
Yeah.
That not only is financially taxing, but it can be, what do you buy people eventually? When people start to get to be 30, 40 years old, it's like gift card. That in itself, at least for me, trying to get creative every year for Christmas and birthdays and stuff. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of my work. And I'm a creative person, but I also don't want to start buying somebody something just to get them something. Because then pretty soon they're shoving it in the back of their closet and they never see it again. And you've wasted your money and your time. And, make sure
Yes.
they're meaningful.
Yeah, you said something that is meaningful. Experience. For example,
Oh,
you have
yes.
a really good friend that you wanted to do something. What if you go and spend some time together? Go invite him for a drink or even a massage or something. That
Yes.
helps so much with connection also. And you both spend a good time, but also it's an experience. So those type
I
of things
love
really
the idea
help.
of giving experiences as gifts. I think that is
That is
perfect. But then, that's kind of me. I'm kind of an adventure person. So, it's not like I would take somebody in my family who hates water and let's go kayaking. That would not be a good idea.
no.
But I get what you're saying. No, I do. I love the idea of having the experience. A really good friend of mine and I, she was married and her wife got deployed because her wife was in the Air Force. And so we gave each other a gift. I mean, it was kind of like buying it for ourselves because we agreed to do this. But we went when her wife was deployed, we went and did a cooking class together.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
And we just had a fantastic afternoon. And it helped her be happier, because she was missing her wife and all that. So it was, those are great, great gift ideas, I think. Because then not only did we have the good food and the fun of that moment, but now we've got the memory of that the whole time.
Yes. Yeah, you still
love it.
remember that. Yes. So another thing that also it's important to keep in mind during the holidays is your health.
Oh, yeah.
And it's important to be very conscious about our mental, physical, and financial. So talking about our physical well-being is so important that, for example, we make sure that we have a healthy plan.
Yes.
And try to eat a balanced meal. Because sometimes we spend, let's say, 10 months of the year on diet, and then we go in this season, and we kind of sometimes get the same weight back just because it was a little hard to control because there's so much good food all around that you wanted to
Everywhere
eat
you
it.
go, there's cookies and bars and, you
Yes.
know,
So it's important to be conscious of that, and also, for example, the drinks. So we make sure that
yes.
we are wise in that aspect because that helps us to enjoy the relationship and build connection with people instead of just focusing on that portion. Don't get me wrong. There's people like what they like. It's fine.
Absolutely.
We're just giving suggestion of things that we understand that will help us to really enjoy it and have a better time and enjoy the relationship and the connection with your relatives and the people around you.
Yep, exactly. And sleep is another one.
Oh yes.
I mean, not that most of us sleep great anyways, but during the holidays with everything else going on and all of the tasks we put on ourselves, the extra pressure at work to get, meet end year, all of those things, sleep is the last thing that we think about. And it should be one of the first things we keep in mind because truly our sleep is going to make the biggest difference in everything. I mean, if you are missing sleep, you're cranky, you eat
Yeah.
worse, you're foggy in the brain, all those things. And so, then we start looking for those dopamine hits when you're tired. That's when we start shopping when we shouldn't and buying things we shouldn't. And
Yes.
yeah, sleep, got to get the sleep.
Yeah, and also make sure that you stay hydrated. It's so
Yes, I actually forgot
important.
my water tonight and I'm feeling it. It's on my
Yes.
counter.
Yeah, it's so important. And like we were saying, for example, part of our physical well-being, it's be mindful that you're really trying to enjoy time. It's a moment for grace with you, with
Yes.
your people around you, that the traditions are going to go in a certain way. But
Somebody's tired. That's actually my sister. Talking about lack of sleep.
because the thing is so important that even though we put so much stress about how we think expectations or things should be, we can create
Yes.
our own memories and set our own expectations, and that will make it more joyful.
Agreed. Agreed.
And one thing that we would like also to cover a little bit is because at work, we think it also brings a little bit of pressure when we're talking about the holidays. So it's so important that also at work, as a leader and manager of people,
Yes.
try to smooth out the and reduce the stress that also it's in the holiday season.
Exactly. And there are several things that any company or leadership, and even if you're not in management, but if you are somebody that other people look to as a leader, there's things that you can do to help things happen at work and be more smooth at work. Now, obviously, not everything that we're going to suggest is, not everybody can do, especially if you're not in a management position. But there are some things that you can do just to help create a much happier, less stressful holiday season. And if you are in management and you can control things, one of the biggest things you can do is allow for flexibility because so many people have a million things going on. You start thinking about their kids in school plays and all the parties happening and all the extra burdens that they already have. Like now, I'm a mom and I've got to bake 400 dozen cookies for my kids' party in 2 days. All that stuff is going on.
Oh my
So if
God.
you can offer some sort of flexible schedule or allow them to work from home, work remote, that can be a tremendous help to any parent or just any employee at all. It's a huge thing that you can do. And it doesn't
Yeah.
cost you anything extra.
Yes. And that you mentioned, it just came to mind that swim season is about to start. So many mornings I have to wake up before 4 so I can start making breakfast for the swim team. So
Oh.
it's the whole morning.
So I'm talking to your boss. Let Indira have a little bit of flexible time.
Yeah, he's wonderful. But
Good.
also one of the things is that, for example, encourage time off.
Yes.
People try to accumulate the time off maybe to use it for next time. But if we try to encourage, just this morning, we've been a few days planning how we're going to do, because Christmas is Wednesday this year. So it's
Yeah.
kind of difficult. So we're
Yeah.
trying to balance so we can have, the job is done, but also people can manage and have their additional time, and that really help in the process of relaxing, having a little bit more grace with them.
Exactly. And if you are the kind of company or have a team and you want to have celebrations, I think that's wonderful. But try to keep them a little low key. You don't have to require everybody to show up. First of all, not everybody is in alignment with your holiday celebration, you know? So don't force your traditions and holidays and everything else on everybody. That's kind of ridiculous. And don't start putting a lot of expectations on all of the gift exchanges, because now you're adding another aspect of something somebody's got to do. Now I have to go buy a gift for somebody at work and all of those things. So you can actually make it really fun, but without all the stress.
Yeah. And to your point, I remember last year, I think it was last year or a few years ago, I don't remember exactly. There was the holiday, the party at work. But also, my son has a band presentation the same night.
Yeah.
Some of the suggestion was you can go one and then come to the other. And I said, it's going to be, if that happened, I wouldn't be present in any of the other ones.
Right.
So in that case, I'm sorry, but I have to go to my kids' stuff like that
Yeah.
activity and then continue the process. And it's understandable. So it's so important that also we as employees, we are open and we express. Because, for example,
Yes.
that helps them even to make adjustments for certain things. So that I think that part is important. That flexibility and openness, it's also help with the preparation part.
Exactly. And like you're stating, it comes from both sides. You know,
Yes.
an employer can't plan for what they don't know is needed to be planned for.
Yes.
So employees do need to, let their bosses know, hey, I've got this coming up. Can we work something out?
Yeah, that's a good point. All the things that we were discussing in our investigation that we were doing, some of the things that in organizations they can do, it's help with some financial workshops or different things that can
Yes.
help the employees to understand, for example, how they can do proper saving, how they can better plan, and especially, for example, at the end of the year, you have your 401k and those type of things that helps you. You as an employee, you can just contact those companies, and it's so easy that they can come and provide you those services and also give some guidance to the employees of how they can manage financially better and also how they can plan for the future, because every year, if every year you do a little bit, you can have a better result at the end.
Yeah. And talking about money, because that's everybody's favorite topic. That is honestly, well, especially this time of year,
Yep.
it's honestly the way that employees feel the most valued. Because honestly, you are getting paid for your value. So one suggestion, if you are able to, is to offer holiday bonuses or gifts. And it's amazing when you make the bonus structure part of just their regular pay, but you give it to, as a bonus at the end of the year for Christmas, because we have so much money coming out at that time of year. That extra big chunk really, really helps. And knowing that they have that coming is a great incentive to keep them working and motivated and looking forward to that.
Yep.
I know I
Yep.
can do this because next week I'm going to get an extra $1,000 or whatever it is.
I can tell you my country. In December, you have your 13th salary, tax free.
Nice. Oh
Oh,
man, I can't
people
imagine.
look forward to that.
I
Yeah.
would look forward to that.
Yes. They use it for pay to buy and stuff like that. And it's so, you see the difference, the enjoyment and everything, because I don't know. Like you said, that's one of the favorite topics of people. So when they have an
Yes.
abundance, they wanted to spend.
Well, and if a company can't afford an entire bonus, there's other options that they have. They can give, like we have here, holiday stipends. Little. I mean, you'd be surprised at how welcome a gift card is to go to the movies. I worked, again, not too long after my divorce. I worked for a company that gave everybody turkeys. And people would be like, so what, it's a turkey. Have you priced a turkey? And, that was like a $40 thing that as a newly single mom, I didn't have to go out and buy. And I was like, yes, I can give my kids a traditional dinner. It was huge.
Yeah. And one of the things also that we were mentioning about during this time, people like to do some charitable work. Let's say go to
Yes.
places. So as an organization, we can put part of the incentive to be able to support and provide for the community and also allow our employees to go and serve. And that also
Yes.
provides so much because it's as company, you are also providing for your community and your employees feel so appreciated because they're part of something, they're part of that.
Yeah, I used to work for a bank that was phenomenal at doing that. And it was always paid. And it was I can't even tell you the one year, what did we do? The first year I was with the bank, they did we went to the zoo. It was in the spring. And we went to the zoo and tidied up the zoo before it opened. I mean, we were painting tigers' cages and stuff like that. It was amazing. Another time we just did a city cleanup. We all left work and walked all like a mile radius around our business and picked up all the trash everywhere.
Yeah.
And we did stuff like that all the time, and it was so nice. I mean, a long time, with the holidays, it was of course different things, but
Yep.
the thing is that they always offered us a whole bunch of paid volunteered time off, made us feel good, gave us a break from work, and it helped our community. I mean, it was a win-win-win-win-win all the way around.
By the way.
It was.
That's really cool. And for example, as an organization, it's easier as company to go and be able to negotiate with local businesses around to be able to offer a discount to their employees
Yes.
because of the amount of people that you have. You can negotiate for those things for your employees.
Yep.
And we were talking about well-being and wellness gyms, let's say,
Yes.
because you can offer that also membership or other type of services that the employees are in need, that you can offer those type of services. Those type of things I think helps. And I know we're talking about Christmas and holidays, but all the things that we have mentioned, it's things that we can do
Year
for all
round.
the part of year round. And
Absolutely.
as an organization, it helps to retain the retention of your employees and have a stronger morale and a good work environment, I would say.
Well, and especially at this time of year, certain, most industries, but some specific industries get really, really heavy workloads at the end of the year. I know mortgage for many, many years. Of course, end of month is always busy in mortgage. End
Yep.
of year, end of month. Oh my goodness, we are talking year-end audits. We've got more business than
Inventory.
normal because everybody wants to be able to close on their house before the end of
Yeah.
the year so that they can get those tax breaks and everything else. End of year and mortgage is insane. And so one thing that you can do is, because a lot of people are working overtime, is provide healthy snacks and stuff like that for because everybody's always bringing
Yep.
cookies and stuff.
Yes.
Provide some healthy snacks. Keep people physically motivated, emotionally motivated. I had a supervisor one time that when we were toward the end of the year and we were working a lot of overtime, and we all decided instead of staying really late for several days, we would work through our lunchtime. We would still get up from our desk and move around and all that kind of stuff. So she said, okay, that's fine. And so for that entire week, she bought the entire team lunch every day. She had it catered in for us every day. And man, I'm telling you, we got that work out. And we weren't staying until 7 o'clock at night. It was
Yep.
fantastic. That was good. I mean, yes, we were working through our lunches, but it was for a week and we got it done. And it, relieved a lot of burden for us too.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And to your point, I've worked in different organizations, and I remember one which they have, they offer the food, but they have your healthy option. So if
Yeah.
you wanted that option, you have to register separated because they have to know what they provide, and they provide a very good menu. And you can, because they have also doctors that they can even prepare a menu for you. So it was really good. And it also helps the employees to feel more engaged and stuff like that. So it's,
Yes.
it's really, it's really, there's so many things that an organization, a manager, leader of an organization, even employees to suggest to the organizations these type of ideas to the HR department and see how they can put their effort and volunteer. Hey, I can help here too to help you find this
Exactly.
information. Because sometimes also the organizations, certain departments are stretched. But ideas and supports are always welcome. So we can be an agent of change as well.
Yeah, I know when I worked at a credit union in San Antonio, that place was amazing. I was not paid the most there that I have been paid in other places, but we had two cafeterias And I'm not kidding you, we actually had a doctor on site. And it wasn't just for if we got sick at work. I mean, we could do a lot of regular maintenance
Yeah.
right there at work. And of course, it was paid time. We could have
Yeah.
our appointment during the workday. And I know that most companies, that's not something they can afford. But I'm telling you, it's those sorts of things that made a huge difference for some of us. You know, especially when you live in a big city, as you well know, sometimes trying to find that time off to go to the doctor, you might as well take a whole day because you're an hour there, an hour back, and all that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, those are big things that a company can do. But you know, if a company ever gets to that point, it's nice.
Yep.
It really has
Absolutely.
nothing to do with the holidays, but I just had to bring it up because it was actually really a nice place to work.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I think I don't know if you have more ideas. There's so many things that we've been talking about, but the most essential thing that we wanted to bring to the attention is that this time, it doesn't matter if it's at work, family, relationships, everything, just to make sure that you go and you spend some time with yourself.
Yes.
Reflect in advance so you know and you can prepare for everything that's coming. If it's good or bad, it doesn't, because we're talking about, for example, things that are overwhelming, but not every time is like that. For certain people, have their Christmas and the holidays, it's fantastic, and which is amazing.
Yeah.
But in that case, in any of the cases, have that reflection of how it's been 2024 and
Yes.
how we're going to prepare for 2025. It's really useful because it helps you to boost yourself and your morale and also bring a lot of energy.
Exactly. And something else with a lot of these points that we have, I do have them in notes, and I know you do too. So we will actually be putting a lot of this information on the Facebook page. So be sure to go over to the Find Your Wise podcast Facebook page, and we'll upload some of this stuff probably tomorrow. But yeah, look for it there because it'll be written out for you then so that you can kind of scan over, and we'll put some stuff in that we didn't even have time to talk about tonight.
Perfect.
So, all right,
This
so
is
what are we doing?
fantastic.
What are we doing next
Yeah.
week?
Next week, oh my gosh,
I'm so excited.
we have our invite, our sister Tammy.
Yes.
She's going to be talking here about leadership, personal development, so you don't want to miss it. It's going
Yeah,
to
she's
be
an agile
fantastic.
coach. She is amazing. She's a public speaker. She travels all over. And last time we talked, she was had just come home from Dallas, from
Yeah, I think
speaking
it
in
was.
Dallas.
Yep.
So yeah, it's going to be good. She's so brilliant and just, she's amazing. I can't
You
wait.
guys are going to love it. So,
You
and
are.
related to holiday season, this is one of a certain series that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
So we look forward. The closer we get to the holidays, we're going to cover other topics that we think are of your
Yep.
interest.
Yeah, and toward the end of the year, we're actually going to have a year-end checkup for our money, our health, and our well-being.
Yep.
And one that we're going to do also is learning to let go for the new year, because that's really hard. Because sometimes you want to hold on to all that and all the bad things and whatever that happened, and it's really difficult to start fresh and open up a new year when you're holding on to everything from last year.
Yes. So we hope you guys stay tuned.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Starting to celebrate the holiday season. It's been fantastic. Please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with everybody that you know. We really want to get the algorithm growing so that we can reach more people. Because like I said, our whole passion for doing this is to want to help as many people as we absolutely can.
Yes, that is fantastic. We love to have you. Love being here tonight. It was really amazing. Nice to see you once as well.
You too.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.